Guys, I'm starting to feel like the Allies aren't a fan of my U-boat. Welcome back to U-boat. Against all odds, Captain Gosling has survived 6 months of service. Now it's 1942. America's entry in the war will create many more targets for me, but the British are rapidly developing better anti-sub technology and tactics to stop me taking advantage of American ignorance. After recovering from the brutal beating the RAF gave me, I think the crew deserves a simple mission, and it advances the campaign, so why not? As I head out to the island, I get messages from nearby U-boats. The first report is whatever, a single ship, who cares, but the second report shows a major convoy that includes an escort carrier. These opportunities don't present themselves often, so I have to take a detour to intercept that convoy. If you listen closely, you can hear an escort ship firing its gun, which means that the sub who spotted this convoy has been compromised. At least he's made it very easy for me. No escorts detect my approach, and since it's the middle of the night, these merchant ships ain't seen my periscope. Soon, I see the target, the HMS Victorious. I locked onto her and readied 3 torpedoes to slam into the ship. 1 homing torpedo and 2 regular ones were launched to make sure it sank. You know, I thought there was a minimum distance before this thing starts locking onto a target, but I guess not. I guess I can't be too mad because at least it's gonna hit something good. Good news is that this merchant ship is definitely gonna sink. Bad news, my other 2 torpedoes completely whiffed the carrier. I didn't think it was moving at a literal walking pace, but fortunately I have 1 more front torpedo to launch. Obviously, 1 torpedo won't sink an aircraft carrier, so I have to reposition my sub to shoot the stern torpedo. The Victorious is doing evasive maneuvers to get away, but they had no idea where I was. Wow, that was just a really lucky hit. I had to have hit their ammo storage. With 2 torpedoes, I've sunk an aircraft carrier, and I think I've done enough here. Most of the escorts are still going after that other submarine, by the way. Great job, guys. I'm sure High Command is going to be proud of you. 1 warship got close, but he had no idea they were sailing right above me, so I got away scot-free. Setting up the weather station is really easy. Nothing's on the island, and there are no allied ships around. I feel like we should be dressing better to go on an island in the Arctic Circle in January, but I guess the Germans aren't known for preparing for the winter, are they? The next mission has us going to investigate reports of an allied weather station on Uboat Island. On our way over, I hear that somebody has been bad-mouthing my leadership, and I just want to know what David's problem is. I just sunk an aircraft carrier last week, and that's not good enough for you? Get off my sub. Also, we got another TB case on the submarine. It's not looking good for this crew, guys. Captain Gosling is going to be lucky to make it to 1943. We have to sail around the southern part of the island to look for the structure, but since it's so small, I basically have to keep my eyes fixed on the map to look out for an out-of-place dot. I finally see it, and the game tells me to fire warning shots at the hut, which doesn't seem right because no way they actually left people on this island. I fire some warning shots to scare them and send a landing party to meet the resident, only to find out it's just some Russian sailor. Although we can't really speak with him, we find out that there's more people to the north of the island. And when I get there, there are more Russian sailors, part of the same ship. So first off, I don't think this is true. Soviet POWs in a German prison camp? Yeah, that's a one-way trip. I got questions though. First, who built these huts? And more importantly, why was that one guy all by himself when they were on the same ship? Did they just exile him to the other side of the island? What did my man do? How much you want to bet that the 3 sailors didn't know there was a second hut and they were surprised to see him on the submarine? Anyways, it's time to go on a proper patrol. The Black Pit is calling to me. There's supposed to be a lot of ships going through this area and I'm ready to sink them. But when I get there, I'm really feeling gaslit by the Abwehr. I've traveled 1,000 kilometers and not a single ship spotted. I only hear a merchant ship after completing half the patrol. When I get close, oh my god, this ship is booking it. I had to surface to be able to catch up and see it's a Swiss ship. But they could be lying, so I pull up beside them to investigate. I demand to see the captain's documents, and to my shock, everything checks out. I accuse him of lying, and he just looks at me like I'm an idiot, because everything he's doing is completely above board. Eventually, I stop embarrassing myself and leave the ship alone. Soon, I find another solo merchant ship, and am very disappointed to see that it's Swedish. I still gotta check it out though, and immediately I see some red flags. This captain is named Arthur Lloyd and speaks good English. I asked for the ship's manifest and my suspicions are confirmed. They were going to Canada, so I'm free to scuttle the ship. Overall, a very lame patrol, so I'm gonna go back to doing Atlantic campaign missions in the hopes that one of them is interesting. Soon after a takeoff from France, a U-boat reports a large convoy traveling nearby, and I'm so ready to pounce on it after that boring patrol. The spy in my boat can wait. As I approach the convoy, I can tell that the other submarines spooked them because the ships are moving very erratically. I'm scared to get too close, so I lock on this Liberty ship and prepare to take aim at it. The escorts weren't fooling around this time. A pair quickly came to the area I was in, and I knew I had no chance to run. I had to hope for the best while hiding. Alright, screw hiding. I'm just gonna book it. Please ignore the explosions that sound really close. We're actually fine, guys. But this isn't an encouraging pop-up though. Constantly changing my depth and speed worked very well, but to survive this, I had to be lucky every time. They only had to get lucky once. That's when I remembered I researched sonar decoys, and I can't think of a better time to use them than now. And after using it, I'm questioning why I didn't get this sooner. It literally got them off my tail, and I escaped with no major damage. I'm just staying underwater the whole time I'm in the Celtic Sea because I'm scared of any air patrols coming by, and it also allows me to see all the sea traffic coming through here. After that stressful convoy attack, I figure I should get an easy win for the crew attacking a solo merchant ship. I fire a homing torpedo at it, and this one doesn't lock on at all. We've seen those torpedoes lock on targets immediately after firing, so this one is just a dud, I guess? I launch a second one, and fortunately, this one is actually doing its job. Ooh, looks like I only disabled its rudder though. It's gonna need another torpedo. These sailors should have seen this coming. I guess I should do the mission I accepted and drop off the spy, but I'm just wondering why the drop off is here. Literally picked the farthest point away from where all the important stuff on the island is, but that's not my problem. Hope you enjoy the hike, dude! Rather than returning home, High Command orders me to go on a patrol near the Black Pit area. Very quickly when I arrive, I catch a large convoy passing by, and I'm thinking, perfect, this is exactly the stuff I sailed for. I eye up my target, get all the numbers for the torpedo computer, and when it's about time to fire, I see that the solution is just obviously wrong. I double check the computer, and all my data did go through, so I'm just lost as to why the computer is putting out such garbage data. After a while, I got too frustrated and launched 2 torpedoes hoping it hit something. Definitely not my proudest convoy attack, but sinking the Corvette does something alright, and if you can figure out what it does affect, please let me know. Next ship is a crew favorite, a solo oil tanker. I don't know what I did differently, but now my torpedo computer feels like working and actually puts out a decent firing solution, which I'm sure the sailors on the tanker are going to be so excited to see. I love the guy who's just casually doing his job when half the ship is on fire. Did so good patrolling that area, High Command told me to patrol it again, and I was more than happy to. The American sailors, though, probably not as happy. It was a very short mission, so I was back to La Rochelle quick. I'm a bit disappointed that the Atlantic theater operations have all been really easy, but at least I can juice a bunch of reputation for research, so I took another mission to install a weather station. As I start my voyage, it looks like I'm gonna have to fight my way out of this port. My AA gun may not be at an ideal angle, but I do have 2 more AA machine guns manned by crew members to cover other angles. You know, other skippers would have just hid in the submarine pen, but I'm not like other skippers. The RAF can try to bomb my port, but I'm not gonna let them do it for free. Six bombers started this raid, and only 2 are still flying now because they never made a pass at me. It looks like they're flying away now, scared of what they saw happen. I mean, I'm impressed. We shut down 4 planes and don't have a single leak to report. As the sun sets, I tell the crew to chill out for a job well done. But it looks like the last 2 planes didn't actually fly away. They want revenge for what I did to the rest of their air wing. Six bombers flew to La Rochelle. 0 are coming home. All because of 1 submarine. Shout out to my AI crewmates, they definitely pulled their weight, but their service definitely ain't cheap. I can hear this merchant ship passing nearby, so I move to engage it, only to see that another U-boat is already chasing it down. And I guess this is the first time I've ever seen an AI U-boat in action. Oh my god, did the captain of that ship steal your girl? Why are you launching 4 torpedoes? Well, I hope you're ready to see some overkill. I just destroyed an entire allied bomber wing, and you're questioning my tactical choices? Should throw this guy overboard for being this stupid. Unsurprisingly, the weather station is set up with no issues. It's just free reputation to take back to La Rochelle for me. Real talk though, the Atlantic theater missions were really disappointing. I was expecting better missions than just dropping stuff off. At least the next mission is way more interesting, with us scheduled to meet up with a Japanese submarine. As is tradition at this point, I run into a patrol plane shortly after I leave La Rochelle. But this time, I can't be bothered hiding. I'm shooting this thing down. This stupid pilot picked the worst angle to attack the sub from. Poor guy didn't even get a chance to drop his payload. Soon I get to the rendezvous point, and it's a bit of an awkward start because I'm trying to get beside them and they keep sailing away from me. Like, do you guys want our stuff or not? Figure it out. I finally catch up, and of course, Captain Gosling has to be part of the delegation. We talk, hand off the goods, and head off. High Command tells us the Allies know we're up to something, and I gotta watch out. The radar detector goes off shortly after, but I gotta ask, where the hell did this plane come from? I am in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, but that's all they sent to look for me, so it was pretty easy to dodge them. On the way back, another U-boat lets us know they're following a large convoy right in front of us, and I couldn't just say no to joining. I approached at a really unfortunate angle because the escorts were sailing right in my direction. I had to dive and pray they didn't run their sonar. I did have a close call when I tried to check on the escort sailing by me, but the allies didn't suspect me at all. In fact, I think the other sub got spotted, and that's why the escort ship did a U-turn around me, which does give me a great opportunity to take some shots at the merchant ships. Do you think the other sub is gonna be okay? I definitely need to get out of here quickly while they're all focused on the other sub, and they just died. Well, I did this in your honor, U-1055. I thought I could slowly sneak away under the noise of their ships, but that turned out to be very false. Well, I've done this dance before. I know the moves. The destroyers launch all the depth charges they can at me, but I know how to dodge them. Then you hit them with a sonar decoy and they don't know what to do. I escaped once again and came back to La Rochelle. Feeling emboldened, I thought I could easily handle an Operation Drumbeat patrol despite the high difficulty. Sadly, High Command baited me, and instead of patrolling off the coast of Canada, I have to patrol BF1. Because we're in the Celtic Sea, I have to spend this patrol underwater, which makes catching up to merchant ships impossible. I have to just listen out for unlucky ships that are coming my way. Soon, I spot a primo target, the merchant ship Fort Lee, carrying a whopping 14,000 tons on board. I was practically drooling when I was putting in the torpedo calculations. This was gonna be a great kill. The ship now sat dead in the water, slowly taking in the sea, so I figured it could use another torpedo. Okay, they weren't lying. This was definitely an oil tanker. Well, if there were any survivors, there definitely aren't now. I sail by the wreckage, and it says there are 2 lifeboats by it, but I'm wondering who launched these. The game is telling me there are 9 survivors on them, but I just don't think that's true. I can give them food, and the game is telling me they're very thankful for the potatoes, but I'm pretty sure the U-boat crew just watched their captain chuck perfectly good potatoes into an empty raft. With that done, I think it's been long enough. It's time to do the raid on Aruba. It's gonna be a long trip, clocking in at about 10,000 kilometers, and I have to take it slow so I don't burn all my fuel on the way there. 2 weeks after I departed from France, the port of Aruba was finally in our sights. The port workers saw us coming, but they don't have coastal batteries to shoot at us, so I laid into their oil tanks with no problems. As I left, I figured this was way too easy, so I did a quick hydrophone check and heard a warship squadron coming my way. But they weren't sending the big guns after me. All they got here is a corvette and 2 patrol boats. So you know what? I'm finding my way out. Sure, I could sneak away like all the submarine crews are trained to do, but I prefer the getaway strategy of just killing your pursuers. This homing torpedo is stressing me out though. I need it to hit the corvette, but it keeps flip-flopping between that and the patrol boat. I prepared a second torpedo to fire, but the first one finally locked in for good on the corvette. So all I had to do was wait. The patrol boats were smart enough to know they didn't have a chance now, but I wasn't gonna let them get away. They're going down too. Not gonna use a torpedo though. I'm doing this the old-fashioned way. The warships were sunk, and now with the high from the raid fading away, I had to think about going home. I am at half fuel, so I was hoping High Command could hook me up with a resupply, but they just hit me with a damn that's crazy. So I'm just gonna have to make this fuel count. I was sweating when the mission complete thing said not enough fuel to get back to port, but then I lowered the speed of the U-boat, and I was able to click the button, so that was a relief. Captain Gosling will make a heroic return to La Rochelle. I hope you guys enjoyed this part in Captain Gosling's journey. You guys know the drill, make sure to like the video so I know you want more U-boat. If we beat 8,000 likes again for the next part, to keep things interesting for me and you guys, I'm just gonna fast forward to 1943 and get a taste of the late game. I'm sure it's gonna be fun seeing how Captain Gosling deals with an increasingly competent enemy when the German war machine starts falling apart. Thank you to my alumni and Patreon supporting my sailing ambitions, and make sure to subscribe so you can catch the next part in Captain Gosling's journey. Bye bye!